Hello, good evening, and welcome to That's the Spirit, episode 7 with myself, Julian Jenkins. And thank you for joining us this evening. It's another interactive spiritual show where we put you, the viewer, at the heart of everything we do. So please join in the conversation by posting in the comment section. We'll also be conducting a live poll, which some of you may see this evening, which will take us to the next level. We've already got some viewers in already, so if you can pop and say hello and welcome our guests in a few moments' time. That's the Spirit wouldn't be what it is without our wonderful guests, and tonight I'm joined by an outstanding medium and teacher, Bev Mann. But before I introduce Bev, I just want to run through tonight's show lineups. So as always, at 9 o'clock, we have The Welcome. At 9:05, we're going to bring on Bev. At 9:35, we're going to have an interactive questions and answer session. At 9:45, a guided meditation. And at 9:55, we're going to do a one-card reading, which I think is going to be, we're going to try and do as the card of the week. Okay, so we've got lots to get on with this evening. And as I said, there is an interactive poll if you would like. I'll pop it up in a moment and we can get the questions answered. Just a quick update. On Friday, we did a soft launch of our spiritual community site where we're looking to build a collective of people who really are interested in spirit. And that's at www.lhcommunity.net, www.lhcommunity.net. It's packed full of videos, interviews, blogs, articles, and an interactive forum for you to join in the conversation and be part of an engaged community, if you like. It's just £5 a month, and all the profits go to the Light and Harmony Spiritual College and Wellness Project that is absolutely gathering pace as we speak. So please sign up today and join the true spiritual community that we can all call home and learn from. I just, when I get asked about bringing guests and making sure that we get the right people in and all of those things, I was highly recommended tonight's guest. And this recommendation was from a lot of people, to be honest. And I was told that this lady is a very special light with outstanding mediumistic skills, a true teacher of love and light, with many of his students and people within a group developing both nationally and internationally, a student of the Arthur Findlay College and a mentor to many. I'm going to welcome on to the That's the Spirit program for this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for a very big virtual round of applause for Bev Mann. Good evening, Bev. How are you?
Hi there. Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. I'm grateful.
Well, it's a pleasure because it's all true. So that makes life a lot easier.
Thank you.
Look, thanks for joining us. We've got lots of people in the room already. We've got 12 viewers in, but I'm just going to run through and do a bit of interactiveness because I think there'll be some people here you may already know. We've got Karen saying hi, Bev. Karen Crocker.
Hi, Karen.
Yeah. Good evening from Zed. Jackie Webber says hi all.
Hi, Jackie.
Dean Jenkins. Yeah,
hi,
Dean Jenkins. There's lots of people coming already. Andrea Neal says hi.
Hi, Andrea.
Chris Palmer. Doreen Oliver.
Hi, Doreen.
Simon Tipples.
Hi,
Audrey. There's all
Audrey.
going on.
Hi there.
There's lots of people coming in. So we're getting good numbers as well. So just remember, guys, keep your comments coming. Keep asking questions. At 9:35, we'll go live to the questions and answer session. Bev, we've been speaking beforehand, and again, it's lovely that when we bring on guests that we all sing from the same page. But tell us a little bit about your background and where did you start and how did spirit really start to be part of your life?
Well, it was quite interesting, really, because unlike so many other mediums, I didn't come from such a mediumistic family. I had no real knowledge or guidance as to the gifts that we call them gifts, but that I had. And growing up, I always felt very different. I was always zoning in on other people's thoughts and feelings, and being a young kid, you think everyone's the same as you. So I always struggled growing up. I always felt a little bit of an outcast, and from a very young age as well, I had experiences with spirit which kind of freaked my family out, particularly my parents. And this is one of the things why I'm so passionate about the teaching, because when I was going through these things as a young child, not only did I not understand it, but my parents didn't understand it as well. I was often woken up, seeing spirit at the end of my bed, seeing orbs flying around the room. And it wasn't just at home, it would be even when I was on holiday. I would have these experiences, and I remember the very first time, someone like appeared in front of me. It just totally freaked me out. And now I find that I feel that my role is very much is more in the lines of a teacher, because I'm able to help other people. Only the other day I was mentoring two new ladies, and we were talking about these things. She said, "Oh my God, I had that. I had faces flying around the room. I had this happen, that happen." And it's kind of like a port of call where you can support and help people and realize that they're not going crazy. That these things are, you know, the things that happen that we don't talk about. And especially for parents of young children as well, who are having these experiences, they don't know how to deal with it. So I feel it's important to educate society, people, because we don't have enough of this in schools and religion. We don't have enough of this to help people. I came from actually came from a Jewish family, and I, very typical traditional. I didn't have any knowledge of what I was doing. I just used to go to healing with my father because he was a believer, but that was as far as it went. So
We talked about education, and you're right. And I think, we were speaking about, and we're going to sort of dissect the subject a little bit more about churches and spirituality and spiritualism as we go on. But there is a need, and we were talking about an evening of mediumship on a Wednesday night in a church. It is just like, it's like a conveyor belt. It's like, let's do another reading, let's do another reading, let's do another reading, let's do another reading. And there needs to be some form of education we're talking about. And no, those are good, that's a good venue to do it, because you've got people coming who have that level of belief, haven't they?
absolutely. But, I do feel that people do need to be educated about how the medium is working, and to understand as well the mechanics of it all, because like you said, there's not really enough information that's given out, not just by the the chairperson, but also the medium as well. I feel it's like it's more than a two-way street.
Yeah, and I want to bring across the book that I'm reading, and we spoke about this earlier as well, and so there's no surprises. But I'm reading the Gordon Higginson's book, On the Side of Angels, and in particular, when I was coming back on the train from Manchester yesterday, there was a quote that I wanted to bring in, really, and I'm going to read the quote from the book verbatim. And Gordon Higginson said, "We need to get our mediums more in contact with spirit, and our congregations to be spiritualized. If we can get the movement more aware of the presence of spirit, then I think we'll be able to get in contact with higher powers and vibrations. Until we do that, we're just people who have found something wonderful, but we're not using it intelligently." And that's what you're saying, really, isn't it? About educating the audience to spiritualize the audience, really is, and that's what Gordon's saying 30 years ago.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Gordon Higginson was the greatest pioneer of spiritualism, and the first chairperson of the Spiritual National Union. But he was so forward thinking. And, I remember reading that book a few years back. And, I was actually talking to another tutor. Um, and I was quite high up on the ladder, and I actually said, well, I didn't have the privilege of knowing Gordon Higginson, but I'm sure that if he was alive today, he would be in favor of advancement and new ways of working. And he was so forward thinking for his time. And I actually got knocked down for that, actually publicly on Facebook, for making a comment just saying, I'm sure if Gordon was here, he would want us to work in new ways. We can't be stuck in the past. Time is changing, society is changing, and there needs to be changes. We can't just have, haphazard, shoddy mediumship. We have to not only bring spirit through, we have to actually allow not only your recipient, but if you're in a church, your audience also have to feel the power of spirit, because you have to actually have that powerful emotion. There's no point for me of a message without an emotion. I remember many years ago, I was at the Arthur Finlay College, and an American friend there said to me, "Oh, which group shall I go into?" And I said, "Let's go into platform." And there was two mediums up there. One was like the information was like a machine gun, blah, 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 blah. It was amazing. And then there was another one who didn't give so much information, but you could really feel the presence of spirit, because you could feel the emotion and you could see how that message touched that recipient's heart. And that's what true mediumship is about. It's not always about all this bullet point information. You have to be able to touch the soul of another person through your work. And if that's not being done, then our work's not being done, in my opinion.
And your opinion, I believe,
I know
is the
someone
correct opinion.
box about this, but it's got to be what I call is mediumship from the heart. It's got to be from the heart. It's too mechanical. You have to be able to touch somebody with your work. And if you can't do that, because for me, mediumship is about healing. And if you can't bring healing to someone, then do something else.
Yeah, and I've stolen this now from Linda Rausch, which I know is a mutual friend. And the first show we had Linda on, and she talked about just being and just feeling spirit, just being with spirit. And you know, whenever I'm doing any mediumship, whether it's a demonstration or whatever it is now in the church services, work in the rostrum, at some point when I'm given a reading, once I finish that reading, I will then go back and say that, did you feel that? Who could put their hands up? Who could feel that connection? Who could really, you know, who was a part of it? Although I was talking to that person there, it was as if I was talking to all of you, and all of you could relate to it, because we all want messages, but we're not always going to get a message. And I think one of the key things that Lynn Probert taught me, and I used to hear years ago, you know, with a vessel and with just a tip for, is actually experience the whole thing. It is absolutely beautiful, the work that we do when we make a connection with spirit. We'll be able to place the message with the person in front of us and experience that thing, and it's just so beautiful, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I thought everybody needs to experience it, because it's not just our experience as a medium. But just from another point of view, Julian, I would also say it's the experience for the spirit communicator as well. Another thing to ask is, did we actually serve spirit in the right way? Were spirit happy with the way that we delivered the message? Because there's nothing, you know, for me, nothing worse than maybe delivering something that wasn't quite right. You know, it has to be delivered in the right way as well. So we're not only satisfying, you know, I do feel as well, a lot of the churches and a lot of things like that is very much a show, very much showmanship. And that's sometimes why I shy away a little bit from doing like the demonstrations and things. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm not knocking it, but I do feel sometimes it is a bit of a show, and we forget, like you say, the essence of spirit. And it's about not satisfying the person receiving the message, but actually that spirit. Because when being a medium, what a lot of people don't realize is that we are the ambassadors for that spirit. And if we haven't, we might be their last chance to be that voice for them to be heard on the earth plane. They no longer have a voice, and we are the medium, or the channel for that voice. And for me, we have to treat that with the greatest respect and be able, if you're doing it on platform, you may only get a window of 7 minutes. You have to be able to relay that message properly. Otherwise, we're doing a disservice to the spirit. So be that voice, be that true channel. Don't worry about what the audience think and what you know, maybe, okay, you want to get it right with the recipient, but are we satisfying the spirit world? Because that is where our service should, our true service should lie with, in my opinion.
Well, it looks as if your opinion caught in favor in the audience, because a lot of people are saying totally agree, 100%. And Greg says he started that. I feel that when he adds emotion to his readings, they're so intense in a good way. So there's a lot of things, and Chris gives a lovely message. Say, Julian, you gave my family a most moving reading she's ever had. The connection was incredible, and that again was, we were talking about a younger child there, but and I want to talk about it because I think it's important. I went to church on Wednesday, and I'm now saying that this is a communication. This is, we should be, we got to remember that we're working with spirit, which is somebody's mum, dad, grandfather, friend, or whatever it is. And then we're working with somebody who's in front of us who, it's an emotional thing. It's a beautiful thing. All of these spirit coming together and connecting. And then I see a medium get up and say, you must only tell me yes or no. I don't want anything else. Don't feed me. I don't want that. I want to give you the information. I don't want you to give me the information. And I sit there now and I cringe. I really do. And that's not being horrible to any medium. If you're out there doing it, that's fine. That's great. Okay. But
that's how they've been trained to do it. That's the problem.
Exactly. But the times are changing. And I firmly believe that if I'm the sitter, if I'm the person in the audience and my father comes through, my father wouldn't be happy if you turned around to me and said you could only say yes or no. Absolutely. My father would want to say, I want to hear my son's voice. I want to be part of this. I want my son to tell me, Dad, that watch you gave me, I hold it every single day, and I think of you, and I love you millions. Yeah? Or, father's here. Yes. Did he leave your watch? Yes. Do you wear it? Yes. Where do we go with that?
We're not encouraging any emotion. There's no communication, really. It's like fat. And all we're doing with that is satisfying the medium's ego. And this job is not about the medium's ego. It's about delivering the message, satisfying the spirit world, and bringing joy to your recipient. And that's what it should be about. It's not about, how great we were. Because it's not about how great we were. It's about how great the spirit world were. Nothing to do with us. It's like when I do my teaching, it's not me that does the teaching, because everyone knows that, Bev Mann can be very dippy, the real dippy, all my friends know me. But when I'm teaching, I'm channeling, like the same as when I'm doing a reading or working on the platform, you're channeling. I don't think that we should be taking all this great ego adulation and all that kind of stuff, because it's about spirit. It's as good as your connection on that day.
I'm going to say amen to that. Because that you couldn't have put it better myself. It isn't about us, and it really isn't. And I think the best mediums that I see are the ones that are truly comfortable in their own skin, absolutely humble to the nth degree, and have that empathy and delivery with the people in front of them.
I've got to say something to you, Julian, and the people that know me will agree with me. I'm not 100% comfortable when I stand up, and I'm not one of these people that says everything's wonderful, and those who follow me on Facebook will know I'm not one of those. I'll speak things as they are. And I get nervous myself, and there's nothing, for me, I don't think there's anything wrong with being nervous. I'm a bag of nerves before I get up on platform. But they do say, and I know that Gordon Higginson used to say that he used to get very nervous as well. And in the early days would make himself physically sick. And a lot of the top mediums did. And I think it's okay to have nerves. I wish I was more comfortable in my skin when I'm up there. Like you say, once I'm in my flow, I'm okay. But it is very nerve-wracking. People don't understand. You've got to get up there, and not only have you've got no script, and you've got to prove to these people that their loved ones are still around them, and they still watch what they do, and they're still with them. It's a very tall order to face, and it makes me absolutely so nervous.
It makes me nervous. No, it does make me massively. I'm just comfortable in.
Nervous.
But I'm comfortable in my skin, nervous. But that's good though, isn't it? Because that's part and parcel of it. That's the energy, isn't it? And I think in the early days when I started to do readings or demonstrations or church work, is I'd have to actually think I had to have the answers before I got up there. And then I put myself under pressure, sat there thinking I haven't got anything. Well, you're thinking, well, you wouldn't have anything yet because you haven't started. and then everything comes in. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes, there's instances where you're driving in the car, and like I had a lady last week, and I had the name Claire, and I had a bad neck in the car, and then, the lady was there, and the name was Claire, and she had a bad neck. I had that before I got to the church. But, in the main, it all sort of unfolds in front of you, doesn't it?
That's really interesting you say that, because we're taught, especially at the college or SNU training, that you shouldn't have a link before you get up. The reason being for that is that you have a danger of, when you stand up, you're working in the past and the energy of the spirit isn't with you. They were with you maybe 10 minutes earlier, or in your case, an hour earlier. But sometimes it does happen. And I don't think anyone can actually say, you can't work this way, you can't work that way, because everyone's mediumship is unique and everyone will get it differently. And I think the spirit will work with you in a certain way. I know sometimes before I get up to work, I might get 1 or 2 links beforehand. And maybe that is because, just talking with you about this, Julian, that they know that I'm nervous, and they've come forward first to say, look, we're going to be with you later on today, and this is who we are. Who's to say that that doesn't happen, that you can't get a link before? I know lots of people that work like that, and those that say they don't work like that, I've seen them stand up and not even get in their power and go straight into a link. So I might get into trouble for saying this, but it does happen. And you know what? You've got to embrace whatever way spirit comes to you. Just honor what you get and give what you get, whichever way, if it's come to you before or during, because spirit will join you. Once you start bringing the essence of spirit, they will come in.
Yeah. And again, I think we're very similar in terms of, we both speak what we think. And I think for me, I'm always connected, and I've got such an amazing relationship with my guides, that my guide will say to me sometimes, there's this lady coming who, you need to give a message to this evening. So when this grandmother Jane walks in, please don't, and when you see her, make sure we're going to go and speak to her. I get that. And, it just, sometimes those things happen. And for me, I just think personally, and I get great to get your opinion on it, I don't think there's a definitive guide to this.
Correct.
Okay, there's no Bible, there's no 10 commandments, there's no this, there's no that. Okay, the SNU, etc., they've got their 7 commandments, all the rest of it. But I don't think there's a definitive. So a lot of this is, some of it we are feeling around in the dark, if you like. And that I don't think there's right ways and wrong ways, as long as the way you're doing it is underpinned by honesty, love, and everything with that.
Exactly, because how can anyone say this is right or that's right? Nobody knows until we get over to the spirit world what's right and what's wrong. And I don't think anyone should be so forceful on their students to say that. And I always say to any student that comes to me, I always say, listen, this is my understanding, this is my teachings. You take on board what resonates with you, and the rest you can discard. And that's the beauty of going to many different teachers and getting lots of different opinions. And we live in a free society. Take on board what resonates with you, and that's what's important, because no one should shove their opinions down your throat.
No, 100%. And it is a subject that I'm very keen on. And there was a post on Facebook today saying that, why do mediums who've been trained in church turn their back on the church? And I said, well, some don't, because it was quite a sweeping statement. But I actually get the essence of what they're saying is that we a lot of people start in churches or circles or whatever it is, and then they feel the constraints and the straitjacket coming on, because they can't express themselves in the way they want to, and then it sort of stifles their development. And we should allow these people, again, as long as it's underpinned with love and honesty and the essence, the words you use, essence of spirit, it's all there for you. And one word that's coming out quite a bit at the moment in the comments that I'm flipping up, and I met Greg at Arthur Finney. He's a great lad. He turns around and said, that's surrendering to spirit. Well, if you surrender, don't you? And a lot of that then is you're open to doing what you're doing. So, for me, I'm all about taking the constraints off people as long as it's structured and done under the right surface. What's your thoughts?
I agree with you. Just going back to the point of the churches, and I'm going to be a little bit controversial here, but that's me, hey ho.
Good.
The reason why the churches are losing people and losing good mediums is because it's not all love and light. There's a lot of backstabbing that goes on, and a lot of. I was recently personally attacked by someone in a church, and it was during the period my mum actually, I was with my mum having chemotherapy, and it really wasn't very nice. And unfortunately, it's not all love and light out there. And that's the message I want to give across, because spiritual people can be the most unspiritual. And I'm very sorry to say it, but that is one of the reasons why the numbers are dwindling, because there's so many bylaws and schmylaws and everything else. Just get on with the job and serve spirit. Allow people to do their job without all the politics and everything else and the backstabbing and the bitchiness. Just let them get on with it. Forget about the exams and everything else. Be a true ambassador for spirit. Don't be guided and judged by other people. You know, just because you've got an exam that's you've been judged by some maybe old biddy, by some organisation, doesn't make you a perfect medium. It might just mean that your face fits. You know, maybe some people's their face don't fit, but you know what? Don't change your face to fit anybody. You do your mediumship what suits you, and be yourself and be true to yourself. And that's what I'd say to people. You know, just be true to you, and your mediumship spirit will recognize your gifts, and they will work with you in the way it's a relationship between you, your guys, and spirit, and they will work with you how you ask them to work with you, not how other people tell you to work with them. You know, just do your own thing.
And again, I'm going to say amen again, I think. But we talked a lot about churches and everything else, and I know one of the key things that you really gravitate to nowadays is the teaching, and helping people develop spiritually and through mediumistic, etc., etc. What would you say are the sort of founding principles of getting somebody on the right track to, being able to connect with spirit, with the essence of spirit that you've spoke about?
Well, the reason why I'm passionate about teaching is, and a lot of people ask me how I got started, and one of the reasons was I was invited to a circle, and I had no idea what to expect or what was going to happen. And we sat in a group and we were told to meditate. We had a guided meditation, which was really beautiful, but I never meditated before, didn't know what I was doing. And the circle leaders went around everybody, and everyone was saying, oh yes, and I went to the fountain, it was lovely. And she got to me and she said to me, well, what did you get? And I said, nothing. And she said, what do you mean you got nothing? You must have got something. I said, no. She said, you must have. What experience did you have? And I said, well, okay. When I walked in the room, sitting in that chair over there was a gentleman. I described what he looked like, what he was wearing, and how I felt his personality was. And she said, oh my God, that's my late husband. And anyway, the next week I went along. We were doing psychometry, which is where you hold jewellery, feel the energy. And I picked a ring out of the hat that was passed around, and I was holding this ring. And she said, well, what did you get? And I gave this speech, and she said, oh my God, you've just given the eulogy they gave at my husband's funeral. So all this was like, oh my God, like it's kind of like scary as to where all this is coming from. So my point was that I wasn't taught. I felt that I wasn't taught properly. I was. There's a lot of circles about. So my advice to anyone is make sure you get proper grounding, proper training. I usually don't take anybody into mediumship till they understand about the psychic faculty, understand the difference between what's psychic, what's mediumship, what's in the medium's mind, and what's coming from the spirit world. You need to be able to understand these things. You need to be able to understand your link with spirit, like you said earlier, your link with your guides. You need to have a solid grounding. You can't just chuck people into mediumship. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't work that way. Lots of people, their first experience, they will have that amazing wow experience that they never forget, like I just told you about what happened with me. But you need to nurture and guide your students. So find a tutor that you can feel happy and comfortable with, that you don't feel intimidated by, because there are a lot of people that, unfortunately, there are some people that are a little bit egotistical that might go on about themselves and their experiences. You have to listen as well as give.
You're right, and getting that balance, isn't it? Sometimes, and it's about finding when you're being taught and you're being shown things. It's how then you take that and sort of put it into yourself for you then to be able to mold and adapt it into the Bev Mann way or the Julian Jenkins way or the Teresa Bird way, which she's listening from Australia. So it really is that sort of, it's special and unique, isn't it? But I think the foundation of what you're talking about is what the importance is, and starting it from the right point. One of the things I'm talking about a lot at the moment is that spirituality, spiritualism, psychic, medium, whatever it is, it needs to be about purpose and not about power. And when we get that essence,
that's one thing I was going to say about the power as well, is also with the teacher as well. Don't be upset when your students move on. It's really important. Sometimes you can only take someone to a certain place. If they feel that they're going to come back to you, maybe they will come back to you in the future. But I always say to my students, sometimes they feel that they need to go on, or they need to move on and go to a college or learn from someone else, because you learn, nobody knows it all, and there's no teacher that knows it all. Nobody knows it all. If the teacher says to you, don't go anywhere else, I know it all, you don't need to go anywhere else, which is what happened to me once in a circle, walk away. Because you can learn so much from so many different people. Everyone in life is your teacher.
And it's great because it all blends, doesn't it? I'm reading this book, Gordon Higginson's book. There's stuff in there that I absolutely will eulogize about, and there's other stuff I just think, I don't know whether that's for me, but that's the beauty of spiritualism and spirituality, is that we can do that. There isn't the rigidness of religion, etc., where we can look at these things and take the best things out of it. We're going to go to some questions in a minute, guys. So if you want to pop some questions in the comment section, please feel free to do so. One question I would like, and I always ask it about this time of night, and it's great to get different views. And we've had quite a few mediums on from the UK and from abroad. If there was one tip or trick or one thing that you would pass on to somebody else, how they could develop themselves and where they should start from, what would that be? What would be your biggest tip to getting yourself underway in terms of mediumship?
I would say find a good tutor, someone that you can relate to, someone who will nurture and support you, who's willing to, if you want to do platform, willing to take you out, and someone who will. It's not just about learning mediumship. What I've learned is, since I've been on this pathway, my whole world has changed, my whole life has changed. And once we start to open up and develop, we might find that our friendships change, we become more empathic, we become more psychic, we become extremely sensitive. We become, I've been accused so many times of being extra sensitive, you're being oversensitive, but yes, I am. And so your friendships change, and sometimes you don't like noisy rooms or concerts, or you don't like people being too close to you, like at airports and queues. So this kind of thing, you need to be able to support your student through all these changes that are happening to you personally. Besides the mediumship, it's not just mediumship. It's about supporting that spiritual journey. If they've got a problem, they can call you and or openly discuss it in that closed circle, because my circles are full of love and support. We all help each other, and we're all learning, and that's why it's called a circle, because no one's higher or lower. So go to a circle where everyone is the same.
I think it's all about, I think you're right. It's all about development as well. It's about developing that person. I think my opinion is that you need to be connected with yourself. You need to
Yeah.
understand yourself and be connected with yourself for you to be able to have strong, true connections with spirit. It's if we're if we're looking to put the last piece of the jigsaw in place, but we haven't put any other pieces in place, then it's not going to be a complete jigsaw. So for me, it is about connecting with yourself, connecting with your soul self, your heart center, understanding yourself and everything that goes with that. And then being able to go and connect. And that's why, my mantras at the moment are be love. So love yourself, love everything about, try and look after yourself, give love, be more empathetic and everything that goes with that. And then provide evidence of everlasting love. That they're the areas for me where we're at the moment. So, it is interesting, and I think that those things are good in itself. So Matthew Binns has said, where is your circle, Bev? Is it an open circle? Can people join? Can you give out that information? Or
Yeah, I'm based in London, NW7. So I run closed circles. I always like to meet people, and that's another thing. When people join the circle, I always say it's a trial, because everybody has to like everybody else. They have to feel comfortable, because, like I said, so many personal things come out in this self-development, because it's not just about giving messages, that everyone has to feel comfortable. Another thing I learned, observing, I used to go to a circle, we'd do meditation, there'd be a lady who'd be jangling her bracelet and putting her coat down on the table while other people were trying to meditate. So, we have to make sure that the energies blend. I also do I found that Spirit have taken me, I've done a lot of workshops from home, and I've worked abroad in Spain. I've also taught classes in the USA. But I'm doing a lot of mentoring now. I'm doing a lot of small groups at my home, and also I'm going to be trying to do them on Skype as well. There's a lot of people who can't get to circles, like in Spain or perhaps in Iceland. They haven't got, or another someone I know in Israel. They don't have the benefit that we have in the UK, where there's lots of circles that they can join, because we are quite sport here in the UK. So it would be nice to. I'm a real technophobe, but I really promise to try and do something online where I can help other people. But I can be contacted through Facebook or through my website, and I'm happy to help where I can. I'm always giving people advice anyway.
it's not a shameless plug, but you want to give your website out now then, whilst we're on that subject?
It's bevman.co.uk. So there is a button there. You can contact me. It emails me direct with any inquiries for readings or workshops. And I'm happy to come out and run workshops wherever. I done a few workshops in southern Spain. I've been asked to do one in France. I was asked to do one in Cyprus. I'm happy to go and travel. I love traveling, and I love teaching. I love watching other people get their wow moments. So I'm a happy bunny to go anywhere. I'll go where the
Well,
spirit take me. But yeah, I'm based in
and rightly
London.
so. And rightly so. We have a question from Jacqueline Haley. She says, if you are grieving and working through it, does this block you from having links? So it's obviously a difficult time if you're grieving to be able to, to connect with spirit. What's your thoughts on that?
That's a great question, Jacqueline. I have recently gone through a lot of grief, not actually losing someone physically to spirit, but I've recently gone through a lot of life circumstances. I've had my mother extremely ill. I've had a divorce. I've had lots of things going on in my life. And I decided that I was going to keep my work to a minimal. I was doing my some workshops that I was committed to, and some of my circles. But I put off a lot of readings because I didn't feel I could give. If there's such a thing, I'd like to give 200%. Anyone who knows me knows that that's how I work. And I have had to explain to people, look, I really don't feel I'm in a position to give you the best reading that I can at the moment, or serve a church to the best of my ability. I want to serve spirit to the best of my ability, and I don't think I can do it now. And I've only ever had one person who got upset with that. And I've had to reschedule the appointment. So my answer to that is, do what you feel in your heart. If you feel that you need a bit of time out, Spirit will wait for you until you feel ready to be that true ambassador. Honor yourself, because if you don't heal yourself, how can you heal other people?
As Audrey has said, get the Louise Hay book, You Can Heal Yourself. So if anyone recommends that, as Audrey says it,
That's a brilliant book as
yeah,
well.
that's fine.
You are very
There's,
important because you're the vessel, and the mediums have to look after themselves and have to learn to say no in a kind way when it's necessary. What's the point in charging
Layla,
someone for a reading when you're not going to give your best job? You
no,
can't.
I agree. I agree with you. Layla says, I have a lot of negative feelings about myself, which I feel is holding me back from my spiritual potential. I can't seem to overcome it, though. Layla's with us, and she's really flourishing at the moment.
Just know that you are a beautiful person, Layla, that you have a beautiful light within you that's so unique. It is your light, the light that the spirit world know you and love you by. Learn to love yourself, learn to love any wounds that you might have from the past, learn to honor yourself and respect yourself and know what a great person you are. There's no one else like you. So spirit have chosen you for a job. So, just do the best that you can be. Sometimes we can block ourselves because I do believe in the power of our thoughts and the power of giving ourselves affirmations, and our thoughts do create our reality. So, Layla, please start thinking positively about yourself and know that you can become a great and true ambassador of the spirit world. Just believe in yourself and give yourself affirmations how great you are, not negative. Give yourself something positive. And I can help you with that if you want. You can message me and I'll work with some affirmations for you if you like.
Perfect. Thank you for doing that. Matthew Bin says, have you a process for connecting to spirit, Bev? And I think the question we always get every week is, how do you maintain that spiritual power and connection for longer?
Because I go very much by mediumship from the heart, Matthew, I try and always work on my heart center. Now, everyone does it their own way. But what I try and do is I always believe when we're working mediumistically, we're working from the heart chakra upwards. So for me, I visualize my heart space opening so much and so wide to the spirit world. It's like I'm here, just use me as your vessel. The famous words, I surrender to you. Please use me to be a true and clear channel for the spirit world. I then focus on my throat chakra. And the throat chakra not only does the speaking, it also does the hearing and the smell. Anyone who's got kids, ears, nose, throat, all that kind of thing is all connected. I'm asking spirit that I can not only speak the truth for them, but hear them and sense them and perhaps use my sense of smell. I then go to my third eye and imagine my third eye opening like a beautiful eye, and then open up my crown. I raise my vibration. I pray to God. I ask my spirits guides to come close to me, and again I'll just go back to that heart chakra and just be love, be true, and be as asked to be that clear channel. And that's all I can say that I do. And to keep in that power, get your recipient to, as Julian was saying, to interact with you. Get them to give you their voice, because their voice is also, we were talking about this before. I believe it's like there's magnetic rods, like electricity. You can't see electricity. It's like a medium might know where they're going in a room. So use that power of the voice to empower you. Make them give you more than a yes or a no. Obviously, you don't want to feed them information, but make it into a conversation and use the power of their voice to bring your spirit communicator even closer. I've kept in my power in a private reading for, they say you shouldn't do a private reading for more than 45 minutes. I've been with a link for more than 45 minutes because if you've got a good connection and you've got a lovely communicator, they're going to blah, 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 and call in all their relatives. Because like we're sitting down here having that conversation, I believe that the spirit world are having a cup of tea up there, and you can bring in more than one communicator for that person. You could bring, maybe 3 or 4 in, or even more, if you keep that role, keeping that power. Another thing that can bring you out of your power, I found, and I've found this in my circle as well, when the recipient can start asking you questions. Be mindful of that as well. Try and keep with your communicator, not trying to satisfy your recipient. Try and keep with them, because like I said earlier, you're serving them.
Wow. Fantastic, and what a great piece of information. I'm sure lots of people in the room this evening can take a lot out of that. I said before we started and we came on air that the time will fly by. Well, it's now 21:26, and we've slightly gone over it a little bit, but that's okay. It's fine, because the information and the quality has been absolutely fantastic. Bev, I can't thank you enough for coming on. You've been an absolutely amazing guest, and the information and the way you speak so succinctly and passionately really is amazing. And I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. I wish I could stay longer. I've absolutely really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And I'm grateful for anyone that's listened. And if they want to contact me through my website, bevmad.co.uk, or through Facebook, my passion is helping people. So please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you.
Perfect. Bev, you're an absolute star. You are a true light. We're going to go on to the guided meditation and that now. So we'll get you back on a little bit later on, if that's okay. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for just being you and being very honest. And I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Julian. And thank you, everyone.
See you in a minute. Thank you. Well, what a true star. Absolutely fantastic. Outstanding interview. I really enjoyed it. I just love somebody who speaks so well and so honest and so true and has so much passion for what she's doing, which comes across in everything that we do. As always, when you're doing live broadcasts, you do forget things. I did forget to put the poll up. So we've got the poll here at the moment. So what is your favorite spiritual sign? So if you'd like to make a vote now, the vote is online. You can do it there and then, and whether that's going to be the feather, whether that's a robin, or it's music, or sometimes when we look at things, we think, come on, give us a sign, and then somebody comes around the corner and gives you the information that you want. So the poll is there. It's live and interactive. So as you can see now, as I've put it up, some people are now interacting with it. Maybe it's not a great idea to get you thinking so mindfully before we go into a guided meditation, but you know what? We thought we'd go for it. And next week, we'll pop another question up, and that question then will be all the way through the show, and I'll be trying to get you to do it. So please vote if you can. Tell us what your favorite spiritual sign is, whether it's a feather, whether it's a robin, whether it's music or meeting somebody. That will be fantastic. So I'm going to now move on to the next part of the show this evening, which is our guided meditation. And as always, you're going to join me for the next sort of 5 or 6 minutes as I move my very fancy microphone that much clearer. And I hope that you can hear me very, very well indeed. So we're going to do a bit of a guided meditation this evening. I really do enjoy when we go on a little bit of a trip to the Indian reservation. So that's where we're going to go this evening. We're going to end up in a nice, beautiful, warm teepee with 2 cushions, one for you and one for somebody who'd like to join you. So if you can now, if you want to join in the meditation, please feel free to do so. Just there is a 10-second delay between us and Julian's computer. That's unfortunately sometimes the technology, but we'll keep going. So what we're going to do now is a guided meditation. So if you are doing anything that requires your full concentration, I'd really appreciate it if you stop that or don't join in the meditation. So what you need to do now is, if you can, is just get yourself sitting comfortably. I'm going to pop up the meditation slide so you don't have to look at me, so I don't put you off. So that's the spirit. It's our guided meditation in progress. So if you can just sit very comfortably now and just get yourself nice and relaxed. And as we sit on our chair, we're just going to take a deep breath in, and we're going to hold it for 2 seconds. And then as we breathe out, we feel all the challenges, all the stress, all the things that have gone on today just slipping away. I want us to breathe in. And as we do, we just hold it. And as we breathe out, we just get this wonderful glowing feeling as the air leaves our body. We're going to do it once more. We're going to breathe in, hold. As we breathe out, we have that wonderful feeling. Now, as we sit here on our chair with our eyes closed, our breathing now taking a natural rhythm. I want you to imagine that you and I are stood by a gate. And as we look around us, we are in the wonderful countryside of America. You can hear the birds. You can smell the sounds. You feel as if you've been here before. This is a very sacred space. And as we look past the gate, we see a pathway which is leading to a beautiful teepee. We open the gate and start to walk along the path. To our left-hand side, we see a beautiful waterfall. And as the water falls, a rainbow is formed of all the beautiful colors within our chakras. We can breathe in, and as we do, we feel so relaxed. This is a very sacred space. This is somewhere where we feel at home. We feel at one with ourselves and with spirit. And as you look up ahead, you see this beautiful teepee. The door is open. And as we walk in, you have the wonderful smells and sounds. There's a fire in the middle and it's just crackling rhythmically. It really does feel tremendously welcoming. And as you look up, you can see through the top of the teepee. You see the beautiful sun just giving you the warmth on your face, the relaxation that you need. And there are two very comfortable looking cushions. One for you and one for spirit. And as we take a deep breath in and we just breathe out once more, we feel more and more relaxed, more and more comfortable, more and more connected. And we sit on the cushion. And we feel wonderful in this amazing space. A space that I'm going to leave you for a while now. As we ask spirit to draw close. We ask our guides, our inspirers, our helpers and loved ones to join us in this wonderful spiritual place. I'll be back soon. Enjoy your time with spirit. These precious moments mean a lot to us. They may be fleeting, but the wonder of being with Spirit, the wonder of experiencing and feeling Spirit, is truly a blessing. I want you to join me now as we stand up and walk outside the teepee. We thank our guides, our inspirers, our helpers, our loved ones. And we start to walk back down the path. And as we get to the bottom of the path, we turn around. And with the sun in our faces, the beauty surrounding us, and Spirit truly connected, we blow it a kiss. And we say, to the next time, my dear friends, thank you for joining us. We walk back through the gate and we sit back down on the chair. We take a deep breath in, and as we breathe out, we have this wonderful glowing feeling all over us of total relaxation and a beautiful experience. Now, if you can slowly move your fingers, wiggle your toes, open your eyes, and come back into the room. I hope you enjoyed that. I always like going to the Indian reservation. I don't know, it just seems always to conjure up so much more energy for me anyway. Stereotypically, I've got an Indian guide, but he's been with me since I was 5 years of age, so I know him inside out. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you can, as always, put your comments in the comments section. Did you hear anything? Did you see anything? Did you feel anything? Did you sense anything? What did you feel? So we're just waiting for those comments to come through now. Thank you for this evening. It's been truly wonderful. I think we've been blessed once again, not just by great guests, but great people within the audience. And as I said, we're going to do a card reading for the week. So it's going to be a card I'm going to pull, which could be, we're Thursday now, so it could be representative of your week or representative of your week going forward. What card do we need for all of us? Well, who'd have thought it? There's 45 cards, and we've got the Sacred Heart. And the Sacred Heart says to me, it's a beautiful card. It's about passion. It's about love. And it's about spiritual communion. And if I had to pick up 3 words that I felt tonight from our guest, then I think those 3 words would be very much about Bev Mann, passionate, loving, and very much with Spirit and with the communion. Bev, we're going to get you back on. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, that was fantastic. And I love that. Perfect card. Thank you so much.
I bought these cards. I bought these cards at Arthur Finley, and do you know what? They have been absolutely tremendous, and they're so wonderful, and it's been a great pleasure. I'm just gonna, before we finish up, what's your favorite spiritual sign? Whether it's a feather, whether it's a robin, whether it's meeting somebody. Well, the feather, the robin, and meeting somebody have all got 33%, and nobody gets any spiritual signs from music. So that's very interesting indeed. But I just want to finish up by saying thank you for this evening. You've been amazing. I'm just going to recount just before we nip in here, because I forgot to go back to here. But some people have said that they heard drumming and chanting when they were there. A gent joined me from Spirit, tall, and then he passed with a heart condition. Said his name was Ron and felt fatherly. It's always great when we do these things, because when I did a meditation online, I never knew whether it was going to work, and it has. Layla said, when I sat down, my guide was there. He never speaks to me, but he gave me the impression I was not to take on any more right now. So just to sit there and relax. Very wise words indeed. Thank you again. I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to keep saying thank you, because I really do want to say thank you for being with us this evening. Bev, you've been an outstanding guest for us. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed having you.
I did, thank you. And you know what's so funny? That card that you picked, the heart, because that's like my logo, mediumship from the heart. So I mean, unbelievable that you picked that card. And I just wanted to say, if anyone did want to follow me on Facebook, I am nearly at my limit, but I have got the public page, Bev Mann, mediumship from the heart. So I'd be delighted if anyone wants to add me, come and like my page and follow me. It would be wonderful to see everyone there. So
Yeah, and I'm
thank you so
sure
much for having me.
I'm sure after this evening you've got lots more fans and lots more people who want to sit in your energy and have your guidance. Again, thank you very much for coming on, Bev. It's been a pleasure, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I've had a fantastic time. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for being such a great person to sit with as well. Thank you, Julian, and everyone.
Likewise, likewise. So That's the Spirit. That's episode 7. Time always flies when you're having fun. We've actually run over by a minute, but who cares? It's our show, and we'll do what we want. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure. This show's nothing without you guys. It's been wonderful. And just remember, as I always say, whatever you do this week, if you can be love and give love, will make somebody that little bit happier. Take care. Good night, and God bless.